Hey everyone, it's me, Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is a very special episode of Commander's Brew.
It's a Deck Reno. We are renovating a deck.
That's right.
We do this every once in a while as something to give back to our patrons. We randomly pick one patron every time we do this. They send us a deck list, and we give it a little Commander's Brew treatment. Not necessarily budget, though, because this is their own personal... They've said, like... So, for example, this is a patron, Jeremy, gave us this deck list. This is sort of a group hug deck list led by Selvala with the parlay mechanic where everyone gets to draw cards and you get a
parlay.
Parlay?
Yeah.
Parlay?
Parlay. Parlay's fun, though.
Anyway, it's all about group hug stuff. So we just took it over, found a few cards to add. Jeremy specifically said, don't worry too much about budget. He's going to slowly put this together. So, we put a couple cards we normally don't get to talk about, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun for these things. We're a little behind on this one. We announced this like a month ago. So, because of the Commander Precons, we've been very busy. We had some guests and stuff. This is the first week where we haven't had a guest, so we actually had some time to do this. So this is great. We've been meaning to get to this for a while, and I'm actually pretty excited to do it. These are cool. Actually really fun.
This is fun. So Jeremy's brew that he sent us to work with was hard group hug.
Yeah.
Like what I mean by that is every card just helps everybody. Like every card is like everybody gets extra mana. Everybody draws extra cards. Everybody puts a thing from their hand to the battlefield. Everybody, like it's so helpful.
Yeah. Very, very helpful, and it's very fun because he said he leans on the political side of the game to help as opposed to like gaining yourself a bunch of life and stopping people from attacking you so hard and forcing people to attack, anything like that. It's all done through the player and talking to the other players, right? Like that's the focus of the deck. So what we wanted to do, because this is a very well put together deck, there's a lot. It was actually really hard to like suggest cuts for any of the additions we thought. So it's a very well put together deck, but we thought we got a few things.
Yeah, the thing that seemed to be missing was how to take it from number 2 to number 1.
Yes.
Because every group hug deck is very good at being number 2 at the table.
Yeah.
Because you're giving everyone extra cards, extra mana, extra creatures, whatever, and they all murder each other with it. But then when there's one other person standing, they have to turn on you, and they usually do.
Yes.
And usually it works.
Yes. So your timing has to be right. The cards you have to be right. And in order for you to be able to actually like survive that last person, hopefully, that you've really spent the entire game building up and making them better. So
Survive.
So that's what we kind of focused on, is that like end game scenario where, okay, now it's me and one other player and I want to win, or even, because again, your political side of you is going to be like, if people start turning on you, you're going to be like, hey, everyone, help me. Like, I've been helping you. Now it's your turn to help me. And hopefully you're good enough and can convince people to actually help you.
I think the sheer volume of cards that help everybody will I doubt people will even consider attacking you for most of the game. Because you're just giving them so much stuff.
Agreed. And
a few new ones were invented since, as you said, we are now doing the precons came out since we got Jeremy's deck list. So there's a couple of other extra group hug cards that were printed that we're going to also suggest including.
Right. So the commander is Selvala.
I'm trying to point at the card, not you.
Okay, I was going to say, what are you doing?
Sorry, Andy. I didn't realize my hand would go so close to your face by trying to do that.
Selvala Explorer Returned, which is the Selesnya 3-mana 2/4 untapped target elf.
Oh, that's why that's in there.
We didn't even consider this one card we suggest as a cut. Anyways, has parlay, tap. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add green to your mana pool, and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. So it lets everyone...
little temple bell.
Yeah, exactly. A little draw, which adds mana to your mana pool only. This is actually one of the few cards in this deck that really only benefits Jeremy.
Yep.
It's mostly everyone, and this does also help everyone, so people are going to be generally pretty okay with it, I think. Anyways, that's Selvala. So let's get into a few that we thought are some neat additions. We got this deck before the precons were announced and before we had spoilers too, I think.
Yeah, we're way behind, Jeremy. Thanks for your patience.
So luckily though, because of that, we get to suggest a couple of cards from the new commander sets. First of which is Evolutionary Escalation, which is 1 and a green for an enchantment that says at the beginning of your upkeep, put 3/1/1 counters on target creature you control and 3 counters on target creature an opponent controls.
Friends.
Right?
Here, have some counters.
And you can spread that around.
Yeah.
And you will reward the player who does not attack you.
So that's a solid friend making one. This one I think is genius design. Orzhov Advocist.
Oh, this is the best one.
It is a 2 and a white for a human advisor, 1/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player may put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature he or she controls. That includes you, so your creature gets them for sure. And then, if a player does, creatures that player controls can't attack you or a planeswalker you control until your next turn. So anyone who takes those counters automatically can't attack you. They're safe. And they're probably going to take it because they're your friends, right? And the beauty is they have to tell you they plan on attacking you by not taking those counters.
That's the beauty of this card in general, right?
Yes.
If someone doesn't take the counters, you can be like, why not? Like, why didn't you?
Why didn't you?
You're going to attack me? So now you can plan ahead for that.
And if you've made some good buddies on the table, they're like, hey, don't attack my buddy. We want all these extra cards. Don't you dare think of attacking this guy. We're going to attack you now for trying to attack our little brother.
Yeah, so you can get protection, hopefully. And just in general, not like, this is just a general overall group HUD thing. You're not a threat.
No.
So people aren't really going to attack you if you're not threatening them with something. Or stopping them from doing something. This they get to choose if they attack you. So you're not fully stopping them. They can be like, no, I'm just not going to take the counters this turn. It's like, okay, I see what's going on here.
I see.
And that allows you to play that political game that Jeremy wants to play. I think of all the cards that we will suggest here, I think this one is like the best one.
The coolest, yeah, for sure.
It does so much work.
Another one that was created for the precons. I don't know how good this is in a group hug deck, but it's interesting to me. It's very political. 1 and a green. Benefactor's Drought, instant. Untap all creatures. Great. That includes Selvala. You get another tap effect on that. Until end of turn, whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, draw a card. And then you draw a card. So it replaces itself, and you untap everybody's team. So this will definitely make an enemy out of the person who attacked in, who thought they had a free attack, and then you untap everybody, and now they can block everybody. And then so you're going to kind of create a little bit of tension that way, but you'll probably draw a bunch of cards.
Yep, you probably will. This one might be just okay. You know what I mean? It's one-time use, and it's got some other. It really only helps the. You can tap everyone, but like, you kind of only help the one person block. You know what I mean? So, anyways, it's very situational, but it is still neat to think about. Yeah, those are from the new set, and it's like just hug it up more.
Yeah,
right?
Hug it up.
I think though at some point, especially if you play this deck a few times with the same group, they're gonna get to know what's going on.
Yeah, if your goal is to just hug all game and make interesting games, great. You'll always be second place.
Yeah,
but we want to sometimes take first place.
You want to sometimes win, and once people see you do it the first time, they'll be aware of now how you're going to do it. So when they see your strategy coming into play, they're going to say, okay, you've helped us for this part, but now we all have to turn on you because we know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, right?
That's what happens with these decks a lot. So I think you do need a bit more of the, people are starting to turn on me. Okay, now you can't attack me. So because you, Jeremy, you have a lot of fun enchantments in this deck, Sphere of Safety is, I think, a no-brainer. It's 4. We know this one. It's 4 and a white. You can't attack you if they have to pay X. It's like propaganda, but it's a number
Ghostly Prison.
Yeah, Ghostly Prison. But the number of enchantments is what they have to pay. There are a few in there, so it really fits. I think it makes a lot of sense. Or if you want to just stop attacks altogether, why not toss in a Blazing Archon? It's 6 and 3 white. It's a big one, but this deck makes a ton of mana.
Yeah, we didn't say specifically, but there are so many cards that say whenever anyone taps for mana, they get double the amount. So, man, you're just generating oodles of mana. Oodles.
And this isn't one that you want to drop early and just let people not attack you. Even same thing with Sphere of Safety too. Because when people see that they can't do something, they don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like that. They want to be able to attack. Even if they're not planning on attacking you, the fact that you're stopping them, like, that triggers. For me, it always does.
Yeah.
Like, even if I'm not going to attack that person, I'm like, well, I've got to kill your propaganda for sure, though.
Yeah.
To me, it's always a big threat on the board. So,
I don't like having no options.
Exactly. So you want to drop this near the end game. You want to drop this when all of a sudden no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah,
right?
like when it's down to 2 people. Now you put Blazing Archon down, you've got attacks, they do not.
Exactly. And the great thing about Blazing Archon, as opposed to something like Ghostly Prison, which I believe Jim already had in his deck.
Ghostly Prison's already in the list he sent us.
Is that this is a creature that you can now use to swing in and actually do the damage.
Yep.
This is one that you picked, Sean.
Yeah. Angelic Arbiter is 5 white, another giant angel, 5/6 flying. Each opponent who cast a spell this turn can't attack with creatures. Each opponent who attacked with a creature this turn can't cast spells. Again, not an early turn play. I think because you're going to make enemies, people are going to think like, I want to do everything. And you do want everyone to kill everyone else on their own choice.
Yeah.
You don't want them to have to choose between building or fighting. You want them to do everything. So, but again, this is a late turn play. And I think we're going to talk about how to kind of spin these wins later. And one of the ways to do it is by like getting rid of everything with like a Wrath or something like that. And then you drop this post Wrath. That's excellent. Like while they're trying to rebuild, they have to like, while I'm rebuilding, you're just keeping attacking me and I can't do everything at once. So hopefully that's the time to use this.
Yeah. So those are, that's some ways to like save yourself from the one-on, because like you've built up this one person to be the winner essentially.
Yes.
And now you have to beat the winner.
Yep.
So hopefully you've given them a bunch of creatures and now they can't attack you or something. So the win cons in this deck are there's some big Hydras.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of mana. There's a big Gelatinous Genesis, which
Yeah.
actually doesn't apply to this next category because it's a sorcery. But we've included a few big creatures here. There's one or two other ones. So you want to get those, right? When the time is right, you need to get them. So obviously I think a tutor here and there is nice. Sean added Tamio's Journal to the list, which is a great card.
It's so great. It's one of the better tutors in the game, in my opinion.
Even though it's pretty slow.
It's slow, but this deck wants to take time, right? Once you've got the journal out and you've got 3 clues, you can just tap it at instant speed, end of last person's turn for 0 mana, grab whatever you need. And if you end up getting more clues, more than 3 clues, you can either save for a double tutor, like one's at the end of your turn, one's on my turn, or just start cracking clues for cards. I think it's incredibly incremental but valuable card advantage. And one that, like, if you're just going to hide behind a pillow fort, no one's going to mind you just looking up things in your little book while you're giving them creatures and mana and cards. Like, who's going to mind that you have little clues lying around?
That's true. You know what this made me think of is that if someone does eventually like say, "Oh, I've got to get rid of your Tamio's Journal. I'm sorry." You know, there isn't really an ability that for this deck to go, "Okay, fine. Well, now you don't get anything from me."
Right.
Because everything is pretty much. I mean, there are some. There are a few cards that tap and like return creatures from graveyards, and then you get to do something. But there isn't a ton of that. That might be something to think about. But also, that's where the political game comes in, right? That's where you've got to convince your other friends to be like, "Hey, this guy did this. Now we got to take him out," right?
Yep.
But yeah, that's something to think about. You want to tutor for? Did you mention this Great Aurora?
Well, yeah, because maybe we should talk about some of the way to win, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the ways to win. So like an excellent way to win. You have Great Aurora in this deck. And we were thinking about this. This is a fantastic card. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Great Aurora. Yeah, I just want to get the Oracle text. Okay, so 6 green. Again, we've got a lot of mana doublers via enchantments and a couple of creatures that give us bonus green on our first main phase, all that jazz. So hopefully casting the 6 green, the 9 won't be too hard, and we'll be able to tap everything we have and get a lot of mana in our mana pool. This is how you use Great Aurora to maximum advantage. So then it says, each player shuffles all cards from his or her hand and all permanents he or she owns into his or her library, then draws that many cards. Each player may put any number of land cards from his or her hand onto the battlefield, exile the Great Aurora. So hopefully you're going to bank a lot of extra mana, maybe like another 10, 15 mana in your mana pool. You're going to Great Aurora. I hope you are able to, because you've been ramping it. I mean, everyone's going to get a lot of permanence this way, but hopefully you'll be able to at least keep up. But the fact that you get to act first, you're going to put your lands into play. You're not going to put the enchantments. You're not going to cast any enchantments that give extra mana, and you're going to use your extra mana to drop a couple of giant threats. And now everyone has to play a little bit of a catch-up game.
Yeah,
while you do not.
Yeah, this is like what's that card? The blue one.
I don't know. Oh, Upheaval.
Upheaval.
It's not too dissimilar to Upheaval, right?
Which is a banned card in EDH.
Because it puts lands back into your hand and it doesn't replenish anything. Like Upheaval is too unfair, but Great Aurora is a little bit more fair. Yeah. But it's still unfair for us, which we like. So when it's time to go, so this is a great reason. So Tamio's Journal might want to find this when the time is right.
Yeah, and then you can drop some creatures. Maybe you've got Concordant Crossroads, which is in this deck.
Concordant Crossroads, key in this deck. We need to be able to give our creatures haste because I want to do this. I want to drop a bunch of creatures while your boards are empty, and I want to swing in for a quick kill on the guy who's threatening to beat me, or the last person.
It might sound crazy that we're like, oh, play the Great Aurora, this 9-mana spell, and then place a bunch of creatures. But actually, this deck really does have that ability. The mana doubling is really crazy. And actually, maybe that's something to think about. Maybe you might want to put in like a doubling cube. Because even to get it even crazier.
Maybe.
But I think that only hits your...
Doubling cube only doubles your mana pool,
yeah. Doubles yours. Anyways, so that's something. We mentioned getting haste at Chroma's Memorial. You got a Concordant Crossroads. We don't have anything else that gives everything haste. So it might be fun to get another way to get haste in there. And I think literally the only way to do it in green-white is a Chroma's Memorial, other than Concordant Crossroads, to give all your creatures haste.
Yep, they're the only things that do it.
Outside of like, we looked at the new Odric, and then like having something that has native haste.
Yeah, new Odric would work.
Then you start teaming up. You're adding 2 cards really to do the work of 1, hopefully. So
yeah.
Chroma's Memorial is the only other way to do it, but it also gives all your things flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and red. So.
Not a budget card.
Not a budget card.
Jeremy said he's saving up. He's building up. And this is, again, part of the game plan. You do a big Wrath with enough mana so you can drop some giant things afterwards and then swing in with your Memorial or your Concordant Crossroads or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. What's next here? Speaking of Wraths, there are none in this deck, right?
There are currently no Wraths in your current build. I think we need a few.
I think this of any omissions, if there are any omissions in this deck, and again, as I said, this is a well-built deck. I like it a lot. I think Wraths are the biggest and thing you need to address, because again, you're going to get down between you and someone else, and you pay 4 mana for a Wrath, or 5 mana, or 6 mana, whatever it is, and then you can drop your creatures, and hopefully that gives you the advantage now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want. You want to take away all the advantage you once gave to someone. So Sean's got Sunscour here, 5 white. So this is a big one. This is 7. However, you may remove 2 white cards from your hand from the game rather than pay it to destroy all creatures. We also got Austere Command.
One of the best Wraths that there are. 4 white. Sorcerer, you get to choose 2. Destroy all artifacts, all enchantments, creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, or creatures with converted mana cost 4 or more. And there might be an occasion where you would want to get rid of all enchantments on your turn after you've taken advantage of all that mana doubling to be like, you know what? Time for all those enchantments to go. Time for big creatures to go. So now no one has an advantage anymore, but I got last dibs and I put a ton of stuff out there.
Yeah, and this is just one of the best board wipes in Commander, period. Because of that modal ability. It's very, very good. It's like a $10 card. So we never get to talk about it on our show, so it's nice to mention it here.
Yeah, feels good.
on the same sort of road of destroying everything you've helped create, because there are in Jeremy's deck there are a lot of cards that have that blue braids ability where it's like just drop things into play, right?
Yeah, just free cast. Yeah,
there's like some creatures that let people put artifacts, lands, or creatures into play, like as many as they want. There's one, I think. It's crazy. So again, to even the playing field in the end of the game, Austere Command's great. Planar Cleansing is another one I was thinking of, where you just destroy all non-land permanents. You just wipe everything away, which might be great because you tap all your doubled mana on your turn, load up that mana pool, Planar Cleanse, take away all those enchantments, all those other things that are doing that for everyone, and then now you've got all this mana in your mana pool, you drop all your big creatures, goes back to their turn, they have their regular amount of lands.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
You just made me... So one card Jeremy included was Second Sunrise, but can we include Faith's Reward?
Oh, okay.
So Second Sunrise is the same as Faith's Reward. We're going to read Faith's Reward. 3 and a white. Return to the battlefield all permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Whereas Faith's Reward, whereas Second Sunrise puts everybody's things back.
Okay.
And like, what's the point of wrathing if everyone gets everything back? But here... we got a Tameo's Journal with a few clues, right? Maybe we'll just put Faith's Rewards in our hand because we have that Planar Cleansing in hand. Drop a Planar Cleansing, everybody loses everything, but then we Faith's Reward and everything comes back that we lost, and now we're going hard on it.
Well, I was thinking that would be a bad idea.
Because all the mana doublers
now all those things that help everyone come back. Which you don't. When you're ready to swing in and win, you don't want those things back.
I guess you're right.
Now we want to deprive those people of all the help we've been giving them.
That's a very good point. Strike that.
Okay. So forget about Faith's Reward.
Forget about it.
Which is we also got Fated Retribution, which is another board wipe that you can do at instant speed.
Yeah.
If you do it on your turn, though, you get to scry 2. Costs a lot. It's 4 and 3 white. We also have, again, in the realm of destroying everything that you've created, Nev's Disc.
You do run the risk of people starting to give you the side eye once you cast this because they're like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Why is
Nev's
that on
Disc
the
gives them
table?
a turn to sort of react and understand
and
what's happening.
maybe you don't want that attention.
Yeah.
So
you might not.
It's a maybe.
Yeah, it's a maybe. Okay. What's this card doing in here?
Sacrifice effects.
Ashnod's Altar.
Sure. So like the deck could probably use 1 or 2 sacrifice effects. Again, for the purpose of a lot of your extra mana features come from creatures, and there might be a point where we're like, okay, this needs to stop now. I want to get rid of the things that are helping everybody. So Ashnod's Altar is a way to do that, but still giving you even more mana from it, so you can cast your Greater Roars or whatever you're doing, that sort of thing.
So in that same line, Birthing Pod helps you get rid of those things, but also then find another thing that may be more advantageous or help you build up to your big things that will win you the game.
Haven't analyzed the deck to know if the numbers work out well for Birthing Pod. There might not be a lot of things that are 1 CMC higher that you would want.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case, how about Evolutionary Leap, right? This is a great way to just cycle creatures you don't want anymore into useful creatures that you do want.
I think the best of these, though, is Claws of Gix.
Yeah.
It's free. It's a 0 mana artifact. You pay 1, sack a permanent, you gain 1 life. This lets you... It's almost like... It's a one-sided board wipe, but it's
for you.
Yeah, for you, so you can get rid of the things for when it's time to swing in. I like the idea of using stuff like Planar Cleansing and Nev's Disc a bit more than the sacking angle, but the sacking angle can also be very, very good.
Yeah, it's just I mean, something to think about. These are not necessarily... I'll just reiterate, we are not necessarily including every card we're talking about. We're kind of just giving some broad strokes.
Yeah, exactly. Some suggestions.
Yeah.
If any of this sounds like problems you've been having with your deck, Jeremy, then these are some suggestions that might address those.
A lot of it's going to be meta dependent too.
So again, in the same vein, we're talking about that end game, right? Because building up, I don't think you're going to get many people targeting you because you're helping them so much.
You're helping them so much.
We're ramping. We're giving them free creatures, free everything. So we're not so worried about that. But later, you do need to find those things. Traverse the Ulvenwald is an interesting card for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to have any problem getting Delirium, because at the time you want your key creature, you will probably already have it. It's going to be late enough in the game. Traverse the Elven Wall is the one green sorcery. Normally you search for a basic land, but if you have Delirium, you can search for a creature. Put it in your hand.
Although I wonder, there's no way to put things into your own graveyard, so they have to die naturally. So it's going to be lands that fetch. It's going to be creatures that just die. I don't think there are any artifacts that are they're no artifact creatures, so they're not just going to... It might be tough. You're not going to have any enchantments that end up there on purpose. Now that I think about it, it might be harder to get Delirium than we think.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like it's long enough in the game. Someone's going to be like, hey, come on, we got to destroy this stuff. Or someone's going to board wipe, or someone's going to,
Well, creatures will go easily enough, but I'm worried about artifacts and enchantments. I think those are... And there are no planeswalkers in the deck, so it's going to be tough to fill that. Maybe instants and sorceries, we got to rely on those. Yeah. All right.
I think that it will be long enough that you can do it.
It's interesting. I've never built a commander deck with Delirium in mind yet.
No, me neither.
Every now and then I should just collect data and just be like, hey, do I have Delirium out of curiosity?
Yeah.
Accidentally?
In a deck that really doesn't go for the graveyard at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting to keep track of that. What do we have next here? Some
lands.
Yeah, some cool lands to include. Again, helping with that end game. I think Rogue's Passage is an auto-include here. Because you don't want to have your end game scenario and then not be able to get through. So Rogue's Passage, you've got the mana for it. Paying the 4 and tapping it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn.
And the deck is geared up to draw so many cards and play so many extra lands that you won't need to play this early as ramp, like as mana. So you can hide this until the time is right. You don't need to show this early.
Good call. Yeah. Because, Rogue's Passage, it's not like it draws a lot of hate, but once it's out there, people are aware of it.
Yeah, why not keep it a secret?
Yeah, why not keep it a secret? Good call. This is another one here, Vitu-Ghazi, the City Tree.
Yeah, I feel like since the Great Aurora is in the back of our mind, we might as well have a mana sink to use all that mana on. So we can get, it taps, so it's not like a full great mana sink, but let's just get a little Saproling here or there. Surely no one will turn a side eye to the occasional 1/1 Saproling at 1 per turn.
Yeah, I like to include this in a lot of green-white decks, just because once in a while you've got a bunch of mana you're not using, and you can make a 1/1 that can jump block something big.
Why not?
It's usually a pretty free include as far as mana base goes as well. It taps for colorless, but sometimes you want colorless. Maybe you've got something in there that needs it. Anyways, also we got a Mosswort Bridge.
Yeah, here's another one where it seems like it would be good in this deck. Like when the time is, when it's time to pull the trigger, when it's 1-on-1 and you got to go to town after you've Wrath, this is a great way. Or I guess you can't do it after you've Wrath because you won't have the power on the board. I don't know. It's a thing to think about because it does. People are like, hey, what's that? What's going on there? It could be a bit confusing. It's an end game land. It's meant to be there to just give you extra ammo at the end of the game, an extra chance to do something, etc.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never really found this to garner much hate, so I think it's a kind of a safe play to drop it whenever and maybe get something big off of it, because honestly, half the time you play this card, you don't even get something that big anyways.
Yeah.
I have this in a Mail the Anima deck, and half the time, you might get a creature that's 6 mana. It's like, okay, well, I guess that's fine.
Well, and and so after you win a couple of games, and people are like, hey, when this thing is 1-on-1, this deck can get mean. Maybe they'll start thinking about Mosswort Bridge, but there's probably lots of times where you're casting Mosswort Bridge and you just reveal another thing that helps. You're just, hey, everybody, look. Here's an enchantment that everyone can benefit from. Mosswort Bridge.
That's some stuff we thought might help the deck out a bit.
Yeah, those are some areas. So we'll say add a few Wraths, a little bit more protection, a little bit more hug, and just a couple ways to kind of help find those last pieces to just go from mid-game to end-game.
Yeah. So, of course, in order to add a bunch of cards to this already pretty tuned-up deck, you're going to need to cut some stuff.
Yep.
And it was tough finding cuts, But there's a couple we could maybe consider.
We'll give you our reasoning behind it, but again, ultimately it's your decision. Just cut whatever you like, whatever you don't like.
Yeah, and you might find some of these cards, like, we haven't played with this deck, obviously, so
Right.
maybe one or two of these cards is actually a lot better than it looks. In fact, I can already think of one that already is.
Okay, okay.
But anyways, so one of them is Hunted Lamassu, which is, of course, is a good like card to help other people and that sort of thing. It's 2 and 2 white for a 5/5 flyer that says when it comes into play, you put a 4/4 black horror creature token into play. Under target opponent's control. So this helps out one opponent. It's a 5/5 flyer, which I like. It's an undercosted 5/5 flyer, which is great. Also, notably the token it creates can't block Hunted Lamassu. Which is actually something that like most of the hunted cycle usually creates creatures that can block the thing you make.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I guess my logic was that this is not so good on the 1v1 portion.
Right.
But I guess it's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
But I don't want to give them chump blockers.
None of the
anyway.
cards are so bad.
Right.
They all make sense and they all fit and they all do what the deck wants to do. We were just thinking like you could swap this out for a Blazing Archon, I think, or something along those lines, and I think get more out of it. Like, you've got so many cards that help. It's okay to include a few that are less helpful.
A little bit selfish.
Right?
Yeah, we're thinking this is this is a bad end game card, right? As far as so we want to favor cards that are good mid game, but also good end game. But we don't want to give them because like that horror can chump another big dumb creature we cast.
And the help that it gives is pretty minimal.
Yeah,
giving a person a 4/4 like ground creature is decent, but
we're hoping for a one-turn
I don't think
win.
anyone's going to be like, "Oh, thank you. I'm now indebted to you forever for the rest of this game for
Yes.
this 4/4 black horror."
Yes.
It's like you had to give it to someone, you
Yeah.
know, like. So, anyways, Hunted Lamassu, it's fine, but maybe pull it out. Next one is Arbiter of Nullbridge, 6 and a white, so that's 7 mana for a 5/5 with vigilance. And when it enters the battlefield, each player's life total becomes the highest life total among all players. Very group huggy, right? Very huggy.
Sure. But it doesn't further our goal of becoming second. So you want the game to naturally end up where you are second place. This does not help that. This keeps everybody alive. But we do want people to die.
Yeah, you do want, like, the point of it, as Jeremy's explained and as we've seen, is we want to turn all the other players against each other politically and just aid the fight, right? So let them play their decks. Let them have fun doing it. You get to watch all the fun happen too. Arbiter of Nullbridge does allow for that, right? Like if a player's dying, you know, maybe very quickly you play this and save them. Or if, I don't know, there's some deck like Nekusar where it's trying to kill everyone, maybe you can do that. So it has its place, but you do want people to die. So like, I feel like the other half of the time this card isn't going to be good. The only time I could think where I would really want it is if somehow people were attacking us a lot.
Yeah, but if that's
we're
happening,
low in life, like,
something's going wrong.
yeah, exactly. That means your deck you're not doing the things you're supposed to do anyways.
And if we're 1v1, we certainly don't want to help the other person.
Yeah, exactly. So Nullbridge is something to consider if you want to add one of those other cards, maybe to swap it out. This one is one that is one where I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. Because we didn't even really think about Selvala.
Yeah, our commander, so Maedrite Stone is an artifact that lets you untap creatures with a tap ability. It doesn't have to be your creature, right? You can help other people. So this is a great way to offer help, to be friendly and group huggy. It does help with our commander, which we hadn't thought about originally. There are very few cards in our own deck that tap for an effect.
Yeah.
But our commander is one of them. But as I said, here's one that, like, I guess another reason I'm okay to cut this is because a lot of the other cards we have say everybody gets a thing, everybody gets mana, everybody draws cards. But this one, they can start asking you for it, right? And then you have to be like, okay, because they could, like, we don't want them to be too specific about how you're helping them, right? Like, we don't want to have someone expect you to untap their commander, and then if you don't, that's bad. But all these other ones are automatically give, which I think is better.
Yeah, I'm a little more now on the side of like, I think you keep this.
Oh,
and I'll tell you why. Because I bet Jeremy knows this. Of course he does. This is his deck. But it's this gives you two Selvala activations every time Selvala goes, and it's for free because you have to pay one to do it. But like Selvala makes you mana, right?
Yeah.
And it's likely she'll make you one at least. So Mage Right Stone has 2 activations, which does draw everyone cards.
Yeah.
And allows you to ramp.
A little bit of ramp.
You want to do, and especially if you're in the late game and you want to ramp into the big creature to win, you don't mind making people draw cards, I guess, at that point, maybe. I don't know. I think it's decent. I do think it is.
Yeah,
it is
I mean,
to consider to maybe move it out for something else.
We could make an argument why every card deserves to be in the deck, but like we just felt like to make some room, this one seems like a fair cut.
Agreed. Also, we got a Celestia Signet in here. And
we don't need that ramp.
I think we don't need this ramp.
We got tons of ramp.
A lot of ramp.
We good.
And a lot of stuff that, the only thing is like this is fixing.
It's 2 colors. We're good.
I think we're fine, though.
We're fine. Cut
Agreed. Seed the Land. 2 and 2 green for an enchantment that says whenever a land comes into play, its controller puts a 1/1 green snake creature token into play. Why do we think we can swap this out for something else?
Because it doesn't help our great Aurora plan in the end because we want everyone to have less permanence. It also...
It's not really the deck to run to give everyone... It just gives everyone permanence, but this even more so, right?
Yes. But it also, it's even Stevens kind of, right? Like, it just slows the game. It slows everyone from killing everybody because, like, now everyone has chump blockers for everyone else's attacks. Again, we don't mind if other people are getting killed. We're happy to give them the mana and the cards and everything, but this might just be a little too much help.
Yeah, good call. This might be a little bit more too defensive for those players that we want them to die, right?
Yeah.
You're right, because it is pretty much even Stevens, so it's not going to end up so much in that one player gets a ton of attackers. It's everyone gets blockers now.
Yeah.
Right. Which is one thing I dislike about these types of decks is that they make the game last very long usually.
Yeah.
So I like taking out these more defensive cards for other players. Truce. Truce is definitely a very huggy card. It's a 2 and a white for an instant. It says each player may draw up to 2 cards. For each card less than 2 any player draws, a player gains 2 life. We just think this effect is just too small.
It's a one-time. We've got Howling Mine. We've got Temple Bell. We've got Font of Mythos. People are drawing extra cards.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Selvala.
Selvala. Like this is redundant, and it's a one-shot.
And really, it just says each player may drop to 2 cards.
Yeah, no one
really is gonna care about gaining 2 or 4 life. Right?
Yeah, if you're like 4 life away from dying anyway, you're dead.
The truce isn't gonna help you.
No.
And even then, you might take the card draw.
Although thematically, it's cool that it's a truce.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's very on theme.
Yeah. Look at that orc shaking hands with a human.
Yeah, maybe a goblin.
Yeah, probably the hands. I imagine a goblin hand would be smaller, but yeah, sure.
You're right. Oh yeah, this is Second Sunrise.
Yeah, we cut it because again, it's just let's say someone else does a board wipe, and you're like, no, I don't want that. Like, sure, that's one reason to do it. You bring everything back, but again, it just slows it down. We do want the game to move forward. We want people to kill people.
Yeah, and I think we said forget about Faith's reward, but if the best reason to put one of these in is if someone was coming at you now, and in that case, you would only want to bring your stuff back.
Yeah, but if they're doing that, something's wrong, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Second Sunrise maybe is a bit of a slice out of there. Alliance of Arms, I think sort of in the same way we talked about tokens for everyone isn't great. Alliance of Arms just does the same thing. It's the 1 white. It's a Join Forces sorcery card. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player puts X11 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield where X is the amount of mana paid.
I mean, I'll tell you this. You do that with your oodles of mana and everyone else and their oodles of mana and everyone's tapping mana for double and triple and stuff like that. You're going to have a zillion. That would be a fun Great Aurora. But it doesn't serve, it doesn't go towards our end goal.
Yeah, I agree.
It just
too many. Bogs everything down.
Yeah. But that would be fun one time to Great Aurora everything in everyone's deck.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Next one you have here is Open the Vaults. 4, 2 white. Return all artifact and and enchantment cards from all graveyards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Why do we want to pull this out?
Same deal,
Same
right?
stuff, right?
Yeah, it undoes the damage people are doing to each other. We want to allow that damage.
Yeah. Again, I think it's better to have people pull stuff from their library and play it.
Yes, more damage, more offensive.
Yeah.
But then once your stuff's dead, don't bring it back.
Yeah. And it's like we were talking about, when you destroy all your stuff or when you sack it or whatever, you don't want to bring it back. So I don't know how good Open the Vaults is.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're relying on. Ghostly Prison. That's how we're relying on, things like that. So they just won't attack us.
Yeah, yeah. And again, there's so much help in this deck that it's not like we're taking out a bunch of help cards. We're actually really only considering maybe pulling out a few.
Yeah, we've pulled out a sort of a category of cards. I think you can see what's in common with all these cards. So you should be able to kind of piece together the angle we're approaching this with. Right? Overall, we want to make the game move a little quicker. We want to lubricate the joints. We want to make people do more stuff without the extra defense, right? Because we don't want to simultaneously make this guy stronger, but this guy also stronger defense with tokens, and he Vandal Blast all the artifacts, so then you open the vaults up back up. It's like, well, we've gone nowhere then, right? We've got to keep moving forward.
Yeah. I think this deck would... Well, let's get to the last card and we'll talk.
Sure.
Last one is a land. This is the Wirewood Lodge. It is taps for a colorless, and it says pay a green, tap, untap target elf. Sean and I were confused as to why this card was in there. We're like, I guess to untap other people's elves. No, Selvala is an elf.
Yeah,
we didn't
probably keep it in. Keep it in.
So this is definitely just keep this one in. It's
yeah.
fine. Although if you pull out a basic land if you want to add Rogue's Passage. You don't need to pull this.
The great thing about Wirewood Lodge that it goes with your commander is that it specifically only does elves, so no one can ask you for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
no one can be like, hey, untap my thing. I was like, sorry, just elves.
You do have the
Sorry.
added bonus where you can randomly help an elf deck.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Which is definitely a random bonus. So what I was thinking is, first of all, I do love this deck quite a bit.
It seems cool.
I love the reliance on the political aspect of things. That being said, it would be interesting to see what red brings to this deck, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something, although I do love Selvala as the commander. I think that's an excellent choice.
Yeah.
Selvala is a great commander for this. The ramp, the helping everyone, it's a great commander. So you lose Selvala, is that worth it? I'm not sure it is, but forcing things to attack with some of those red abilities might be something to think about. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you kind of that political side of it is like, well, no, you don't need to play politics when everyone has to attack. Do you? Maybe you do, because you can still convince people to attack other people and stuff.
I like it as is. I'd be curious to see, if you make any of these changes, please let us know how it goes. And then, this is so meta dependent, right? Because, if they consistently ignore you and everyone goes buck wild, and then you're second place, and then you're like, oh, and now I'm first place, and now I win. If that happens a couple times, they're going to start turning on you, right? Yeah. It's going to stop being such a harmless deck. So it will have a shelf life if it tries to win, which is the interesting balance on group hug decks.
Is this an interesting case where, again, as I mentioned, if you added red to force people to attack, and you put in stuff like propaganda, are you okay with that? Where it's hey, I'll make you attack. Or you can not attack sometimes.
So the propaganda allows them
allows them an out. But if they're okay, well, I choose to attack.
Well, then why run the reds?
Then why are we running the reds, right?
Yeah.
But we're all, it's interesting. I don't know.
Because if you're fully giving them choice, then there's no point.
That's true. You're right.
Interesting.
It's a cool deck.
The only thing I would want to put with red, because I'm just obsessed with the Great Aurora, is the one that just cycles permanents. That everyone shuffles everything in and put that many permanents straight out, off the top of their deck, just you don't play the lands and then cast things. So yeah, the Great Aurora I think is a really cool piece of tech in this deck.
It's really good. Yeah.
If I were to make further adjustments, if as people figure out this deck, I might kind of gear it more towards less giving them permanents and more giving yourself tokens, so that Great Aurora is just bonkers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Either way, if you want to check out Jeremy's original deck, tappedout.net/user/commandersbrew.
Yeah, we'll put it up.
We'll put it up there. You can go to our website, also commandersbrew.com, and we'll also we'll tell Jeremy about these. I guess that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, this is a bonus because Jeremy's one of our generous patrons. So if you would like to also become a patron, you will be eligible for these Deck Renos. We're gonna pick a new one very soon because we're done. So we got to get a new one in the chamber. So patreon.com/commandersbrew. You can donate $1 an episode if you want. This episode right here, is we can do these things because of the patrons. We can do a bunch of extra stuff. So I hope you're getting some enjoyment out of this. And thank you again, Jeremy, for being such a generous patron.
Thanks to all of our patrons, and thanks to all of our listeners who are not patrons also. That's not necessary, but this is the little thing you might get if you decide to help out. We appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want to contact us, you can do so on Twitter @CommandersBrew. Individually, we are
@AndyHellbone.
and I'm @SeanTabaris. Or send us a Gmail, commandersbrew@gmail.com.
Also, you can check out all of our decks on tappedout.net/users/commandersbrew. And you can go to patreon.com if you'd like to donate and help support the show.
And if you want to check all this out in one place, go to commandersbrew.com for all this info.